Also on 7, we're learning much more about infamous Boston gangster James Whitey Bulger. A new handwritten manuscript from Bulger has been released as part of a court filing. Whitey's writings included stories about ex-FBI agent John Connolly. 7's Jonathan Hall live in Southie with much more on that.
Hey, Ryan, for decades, Whitey Bulger ruled South Boston with an iron fist, even on St. Patrick's Day. And now we are learning more about the rage he felt while a fugitive from justice in Southern California.
James Whitey Bulger died more than 7 years ago. The elderly South Boston gangster beaten to death in prison. But he seems to be speaking to us from the grave, thanks to dozens of pages from this handwritten manuscript just released in a Florida court document. He writes, "I've been a criminal almost all my life. It came easier than honest labor." Former FBI agent John Connolly, who was convicted of providing Bulger information which led to a 1982 murder in Florida, was released from prison due to his age and poor health, but he's still trying to clear his name. And his attorneys presented the court with these pages to help bolster their case. In them, Bulger claims Connolly was framed by the FBI rather than go after Connolly's supervisor, John Morris. Bulger writes about the first time he was able to bribe Morris after he claims he found out Morris had a taste for wine and women. "I gave him an envelope with money in it. He was real nervous and swore me to secrecy. I agreed and never betrayed the promise I made." Morris testified against Connolly at his racketeering trial and was granted immunity in exchange. But Bulger says when he fled Massachusetts in 1994, after learning he had been indicted, it was Morris who gave him the information. Sadly for JC, he took the heat for warning me to take off and other tips that had come from JM, meaning Morris. Bulger says this was a miscarriage of justice and was enraged when leaked information to newspaper reporters indicated he was an FBI informant. Bulger writes he called and told Morris's secretary he was former Boston Mayor Kevin White in order to get through to Morris on the phone. He says he was put through and claims I told him I should blow your brains out, but better yet, I threatened him with, "If I go down, you're coming with me." The FBI finally arrested Bulger in 2011 in Santa Monica, California. They found money stuffed in the walls and this unfinished book written in his own hand. Bulger says he never dreamed he'd write about his life of crime, but had to because he claims his former fellow gangsters, John Martirano and Kevin Weeks, had been lying about him in interviews. Bulger says he was especially upset when he saw his former hitman, Martirano, who's free, on a 60-minute segment back in 2008. Bulger wrote, "Naturally, I'm very angry about all of this. I'd prefer to return to South Boston and settle this with a gun, but I'm aware of the many cameras that record license plate numbers and images of pedestrians. Good sense indicates that a kamikaze attack by me is not a wise move, and I would be limited to only one target."
We had an address for John Connolly, so we went up to the North Shore. I knocked. An elderly man looked at me through the window and waved me off, no comment, then opened the door just a crack to say, "I have no comment." We also reached out to one of John Connolly's lawyers. He's not talking today as well. We're live in Southie. Jonathan Hall, 7 News.